This is the Battle of Kyiv. This is the Battle of Kyiv, like in 1941. Very few people know, but in the World War II, Ukraine suffered the most of all the Soviet Union because our country was captured and recaptured twice, and it was aggressed both by Hitler on one side and Stalin on the other side. And this now reminds the Second World War, 1941, the Battle of Kyiv. Back then, the whole world knew there is a terrorist, insane man wanting to violate Poland, and the whole world chose the politics of appeasement. So we've chosen the same politics this time, and the politics of appeasement has not worked once again. And the deep concern and all the toothless sanctions that have been introduced, and the deep concern was expressed, the toothless sanctions were introduced. It didn't help. Putin invaded Georgia in 2008. He invaded Ukraine in 2014. He invaded Belarus effectively. He downed a civilian airplane above Ukraine's skies, and he hasn't received a response strong enough to stop him. Here are some of the human stories. I'll just read from my phone from my friends. This is the basement and this is from my apartment blocks, not apartment block, the residential area where we live. It's like a blocks of flats together. So in one of the homes, my friend lives, and he says that he has a child who's 5 years old. The basement for my child is now the best place of all. The concentration of children and toys there is above and beyond. And most of all, this is basement. He's never been there. So after all of the sirens and the air alerts, it's very difficult to get her out of there. All of our neighbors in the yard are now preparing Molotov cocktails. All the drivers have donated the gasoline for it, and we are prepared to meet the Russians here. My close friends who have attended my wedding, they're in the territorial defense units in Kiev. They're armed. I haven't been in touch with them for over 24 hours. I don't know where they are. My son, who's three and a half years old here in London, his godfather is in the territorial defense unit. What they do is they protect Kiev. They protect us from
Valeriya, just
invasion.
Take your time.
My family is also near Sumy region, where our army is holding the line. Our army and our territorial defense units and our president are doing an incredible job. Russia planned a blitzkrieg. They wanted to take Kiev and show the whole world and all of the Russians that they are freeing Russian-speaking Ukrainians. But they failed. They failed miserably. Of course, our army is suffering huge losses, but we are fighting back. We are fighting back, and we are resisting, and we will prevail. I will not give you the official data of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine of how many airplanes of the Russian aviation were downed and how many tanks were burned and how many Russian soldiers were killed. That you can look up yourself. But what I can say is that there are two ways in which the world can help Ukraine right now. This is obvious that NATO troops will not be there because this is a direct war with Russia of nuclear powers. This is not what is at the table at the moment. What can work, I mean, it is clear that the sanctions introduced so far have not worked. They were too late, they were too toothless, and Putin doesn't care. And sanctions against Putin personally, how are they going to stop him? Has he been planning to travel to the United States? Has he been planning to travel to the UK? I mean, so while sanctions are important and indispensable, and I will come back to the list of sanctions of what is actually, or what can work, Ukraine needs military support. And when I say military support, I mean anti-tank weapons, air defense, body armor, because all of our men who are volunteering now, the territorial defense units, they now are running out of it because there's just a big influx. I have been helping the people I know in the UK who are Ukrainians who are going back to Ukraine. They've started going back since the start of the full-fledged war. So the cars and buses going by land to the Polish border to cross back into Ukraine. So this is...
And Valeriya, let me just ask you, because I didn't catch exactly what you said. about your family. You have family here in Ukraine. Are you in contact with them? Are you able to make contact with them, and are they safe?
I was able to make the contact with my family who are near Sumy region. They are in Poltava region, on the border with between Poltava region and Sumy region, where you could clearly hear the bombings and the shellings. They are safe. My husband's brother, he is in the territorial defense units. They are building block posts and other. Unfortunately don't know all the terminology of what they're doing there. But they are seemingly safe. The last I spoke was yesterday. We haven't spoken today yet. My friends in Kyiv and the godfather of my son, they are in Kyiv. I haven't been able to get a word from them in 24 hours, so I don't know where they are and whether they're safe. His wife and 2 children, they have been in the subway and the bomb shelters, and they haven't been in touch since yesterday morning, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, Valeriya, thank you very much for being with us. And hopefully we could maybe check in with you tomorrow and see what is happening to your family.
If you can just tell the world again that sanctions, what needs to be done right now is freeze all central bank of Russia assets, ban Russia from SWIFT, ban trading with all Russian energy companies, sanction all Russian banks. And this must be a blanket ban, because we need to stop Putin from financing this war. And if we are still continuing all of this cooperation with Russia, we are effectively financing the war as well.